What if Dooku was killed on Geonosis in Attack of the Clones? That's our story for today. Hope you guys enjoy this one, and let's get right into it. Our story begins on Geonosis, as Mace Windu is approaching the platform where Count Dooku, Jango Fett, Boba Fett, Poggle the Lesser, and the Neimoidians are watching the executions of Skywalker, Kenobi, and Amidala. The three of them are in the arena below, scrambling against the three creatures, and now a wave of droids. They are in need of help, and that is what Windu is bringing. He reaches the Separatist leaders, igniting a purple blade right in front of Jango Fett. Dooku turns, telling his old friend that this is brave, but foolish. All throughout the arena, around 100 total Jedi ignite their lightsabers, preparing for this fight. 100 more Jedi are in the air inside of the Jedi transport ships, monitoring space for reinforcements. And Dooku remarks that the Jedi are heavily outnumbered, as Jango fires a flamethrower at Windu, forcing the Jedi Master to jump away, landing next to Kenobi as they look upon the countless battle droids entering the arena. The battle would play out with the 100 Jedi fighting for their lives, and more of them dying every single minute. Many Jedi Council members see the carnage and destruction that this war will bring, but one in particular, a Jedi named Coleman Trevor, decided to do something about it. This war was certain to continue so long as Count Dooku was the head of the Separatists, so Coleman took a moment, coming up with a quick plan. He noticed a super battle droid preparing to fire its rocket launcher, so Coleman got its attention, drawing it towards him. As the droid approached, Coleman timed his jump perfectly, leaping up towards the platform with Dooku and the others on it. The super battle droid fired a rocket, and Coleman used the Force, guiding the rocket right into the platform. The Jedi Master landed back on the ground, taking out nearby droids, then ran into the crashing platform. Dooku fell to the ground with the others as Jango flew away, and the air around him was filled with sand. It got into his eyes as he fumbled for his lightsaber, but as he was able to see again, a green saber was stabbed through his heart. Dooku looked up to see Master Coleman Trevor, and he fell back, dead. Coleman honestly couldn't believe he did it. Dooku was extremely powerful, and at first, his original plan was just jumping onto the platform to confront Dooku and the bounty hunter. He wondered whether or not that would have worked. Jango flew into the arena not long ago, while Poggle the Lesser and the Neimoidians were on the ground with their hands up in fear. Coleman called over 3 Jedi Knights, and they arrested Gunray and Poggle, sneaking them through the Geonosis tunnels to meet with a Jedi carrier ship. The rest of the battle was still taking place in the arena, but as Coleman and the others left with the leaders, he saw a ton of ships emerge from hyperspace, flying down to aid the Jedi. This was good, and it allowed Coleman to continue through the tunnels without fear. As he and the Jedi quickly reached the Jedi ship, they were about to put Poggle and Gunray aboard when they heard something. It was like a loud, mechanical footsteps coming from somewhere around them. They were in a small Geonosian clearing outside of the tunnels, listening to the footsteps as they suddenly came to a stop. The 4 Jedi had their lightsabers ignited, and suddenly the ground from underneath a human male around 20 years old erupted, and he was dragged underneath with a dying scream. And from the ground now jumped a cyborg, landing behind a female Rodian Jedi, igniting all 4 sabers through her back, then throwing her away like nothing. Coleman Trevor and another human male, named Vix Pointar, looked up as Grievous stood over them with a laugh. Trevor and Pointar moved in at Grievous, neither of them ever seeing him before. This was Grievous's first time revealing himself to the Jedi. Grievous spun his sabers, knocking Trevor away, then swung all 4 of them down on Pointar. He tried holding them back with just 1 saber, but it was no use, and he was also knocked to the ground. Coleman Trevor got back up to move in at Grievous, but the cyborg grabbed Pointar with his clawed legs, crushing his ribs, slicing into the young Jedi before throwing the body at Trevor. Coleman caught Pointar, hoping to save him, but it was too late, as Grievous pushed a button on his wrist, and a Geonosian speeder would fly to them. He saved Poggle and Gunray, yelling, "So long, Jedi," before taking off through the tunnels. Coleman now sat alone with the 3 dead Jedi, as he realized that, even without Dooku, the Separatists can be dangerous, and he felt a chill run down his spine as he wondered if, maybe, Dooku was the one keeping that creature in line. Without Dooku, the Separatists had no leash. The rest of the Battle of Geonosis would be brutal, with the remaining Jedi leading the thousands of clones into battle versus the droid army. It would mark the first real battle of the war, as Jedi, clones, and droids fell in waves, fighting in what would be the beginning of this civil war. But while they all fought down below, Grievous was informed by Newt Gunray that Dooku was dead. Their leader is gone. All hope is lost. Grievous nearly killed Gunn right here, but instead he said that he will take over as leader. Grievous understood that losing Dooku this early was a huge blow, but he didn't necessarily agree with the Count's overall strategy for the war. Dooku wanted to really stretch this thing out, slowly bleed the Jedi Order and Republic. Grievous never understood this, because as things currently stood, the battle droids outnumbered the clones at least 10-1, and in terms of ships, the Republic barely had anything yet. Dooku wanted to slowly take planet by planet, avoiding many planets in the core of the Republic, while Grievous decided to go a different route. He would guide the droid forces directly to Coruscant. He would take the planet, bleed it and its people dry until they surrendered to the Separatists once and for all. Grievous would eventually reach the Geonosis hangar, and he would find Dooku's ship here. He got in it, examining all of the battle plans inside, as well as recent transmissions. One of the key systems in Dooku's transmission log was Kamino, home of the cloners. Grievous knew this had to be the home of the clone army, so as he got to space, regrouping with the retreating Separatist droid armies, he began putting together plans to take over the Republic while they were scrambling on Geonosis. Grievous was chosen by Dooku for a reason. He was an elite warrior, but even beyond that, he was an elite strategist. Without Dooku, he would get to show his true potential. Grievous amassed a handful of Separatist capital ships to stay here above Geonosis, delay the Republic from leaving for as long as possible, while one half of the Separatist fleet goes, led by Asajj Ventress, to Kamino. The other, led by him, will go and take Coruscant. The Republic took far too long to prepare for this war, and today, they would pay for it. So as Mace Windu, Yoda, and the others of the small group of survivors soon evacuated from Geonosis with their clone army, they were met in space by the Separatist fleet. This strategy didn't make sense. Geonosis was lost, but soon they realized the goal was not to defeat them, it was to delay them. Above Kamino, thousands more clone troopers were marching into Republic capital ships as they were preparing to finally be deployed into this war that they were born for. There were 30 Republic ships here, flying out of Kamino, when the Separatist fleet emerged from hyperspace, and they greatly outnumbered the Republic, deploying at least 100 total ships consisting of dreadnoughts, heavy cruisers, and other battle-ready ships. The Separatist army had been building up their armies and fleet for years, while the Republic has been building their fleet for only a few months, if not less. Asajj Ventress and Admiral Trench would be the main leaders as this battle began. While the clones were certainly more skilled than the droids on the ground, there was not the same advantage in the air. The droids were calculated and merciless, and within hours, the 30 Republic ships were destroyed, while 75 Separatist ships remained. The armies on Kamino offered up their surrender, but Grievous called to the Separatist fleet, telling them there is no surrender. Destroy Kamino. And so they did. The facilities were blown into the water as the entire Kaminoan population, along with 100,000 clones, with 1 million more on the way, were massacred. And the Republic was left without an army. On Coruscant, Darth Sidious was waiting for Dooku inside of his lair in the industrial sector. He lost contact with Dooku early on, but this was not too unexpected, as Sidious knew Dooku was orchestrating the first battle of the war. Sidious knew that, if he so wanted, he could take over the Republic using the Separatist droid army. The droids were far more ready than the Republic, but he knew with Dooku at the helm that they could drag this war on for a few years until the Republic would do anything to allow him to end this war, even if it meant becoming the Emperor of the Galaxy. But as he waited for Dooku, a giant Separatist fleet emerged above Coruscant. The few ships the Republic had to protect the planet would be decimated within minutes, and Sidious grabbed his communicator, patching himself into the Separatist capital ship, the Invisible Hand, led by General Grievous. And Grievous answered Sidious, bowing to the Dark Lord, telling him that Dooku is dead, but where Dooku would have failed, he has succeeded. Kamino is destroyed, and now he is ready to capture Coruscant. Sidious was clearly angry, calling Grievous a fool. Grievous truly didn't understand. Why didn't Dooku or Sidious seem to actually want to win this war? But as Sidious told him to come down to these coordinates, and the two of them will talk alone, Sidious said that without Dooku, Grievous will become his new apprentice. Grievous considered this, then said it will be done, ending the transmission. And when it was over, Sidious prepared to destroy Grievous upon his arrival to the lair. But as he looked out of the hangar door, he saw the Separatist ships turn on the coordinates that he just gave to Grievous, and a barrage of firepower was rained down on Sidious. The Dark Lord died in the explosions, and now Grievous was the sole leader of the Separatist armies. He decided he couldn't trust Sidious. He would now do what must be done, and with his hundreds of capital ships above Coruscant, he began deploying thousands of droid transports and fighters to the surface, along with millions of battle droids. He would take Coruscant. The Republic would suffer. Every single citizen on Coruscant knew that war with the Separatists was imminent. They all knew that negotiations were not working. They all knew that the Jedi were far outnumbered. But still, no one thought the Republic would be able to build an army to stop the Separatists, and despite all of this, no one ever dared talk about an invasion of Coruscant. It seemed almost impossible. Coruscant was the home of the Republic, the capital of the galaxy. It was supposed to be safe. But now, as everyone watched the HoloNet emergency broadcast, they saw the new reality of their lives. Emergency alarms blared in the streets, telling everyone to get into their homes, as Separatist ships zipped all through the air, firing on homes, shops, buildings, just causing chaos and terror to the people. The Senate building was surrounded, as Republic senators were escorted away into Republic prisons. The same would happen to the Jedi Temple, though they tried putting up a fight. The temple was largely emptied of real fighters, as all of them went to Geonosis. So after 1,000 Jedi fell, the temple surrendered, and they, too, were taken to Republic prisons. Coruscant fell, and within hours, General Grievous accessed the HoloNet, proclaiming that the time of the Republic is over. This new era, the era of the Separatists led by him, begins now. Originally, the Separatist Alliance was created solely to just be free of the Republic, but now Grievous had become power-hungry, and he was going to turn the Republic into his own droid empire. By the time the 70 surviving Jedi and 50,000 surviving clones emerged from hyperspace back to Coruscant, it was already too late. They were delayed above Geonosis for far too long. They emerged to see a fleet of thousands of ships protecting the planet. Senator Padme Amidala and Mace Windu requested to speak to whoever was in charge, and Coleman Trevor quickly realized who it was. General Grievous emerged as a hologram, telling these Jedi and clones they are the last of the army of the Republic. They must surrender now, or they will be responsible for the deaths of thousands of people every single day. Grievous looked to Padme as he brought 3 senators to him. Padme said the Republic cannot surrender like this, and Grievous easily cut down the 3 senators with a laugh. He then called 3 Jedi, a youngling, a knight, and a master in front of him, and he said the same to Windu, and Windu hesitated for too long. Grievous cut them down as well, then said that is only a taste. Surrender or everyone dies. He then cut the transmission, leaving everyone in shock. And immediately, Padme, the Jedi, and the clones in these 3 Republic capital ships began strategizing. Surrender seemed like the only option. There were very few options, but Anakin Skywalker soon emerged with a plan. He said that Grievous doesn't know how many survivors there are. If 90% of them surrender, then perhaps the remaining 10% of Jedi and clones can eject out of escape pods, sneak into Coruscant, while everyone else surrenders, and once on planet, they can begin spreading into the underworld, recruiting the people to fight back. Grievous is underestimating the citizens of the Republic. He thinks that by just defeating the Jedi and the politicians, that the Republic will die out, give up, but he is underestimating them. Maybe with just a spark of hope, the billions of people on Coruscant can be trained to rise up and fight back. It was a risky plan, but perhaps the only plan. So 5 squads would be created. Anakin Skywalker, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Plo Koon, Depa Billaba, and Kit Fisto would each board an escape pod with around 10 clone troopers, sneak into Coruscant, begin creating an uprising from the inside. So, the 5 escape pods were launched, sneaking through the debris above Coruscant, as the remaining Jedi and clones were arrested by Grievous and the droids, along with Padme Amidala. Anakin promised to save her before taking off into the planets. And from here, days would become weeks as the 5 Jedi and 50 clones began spreading throughout the planet. The people of Coruscant were currently living in fear under this harsh new regime, but once they saw the Jedi and clones' willingness to fight back, more people would choose to join them, and with every citizen that joined, more would follow. Within a few weeks, the underworld of Coruscant, along with the top levels, was full of people just waiting for the Jedi to make their move, and they would follow suit. During all of this, Grievous had become arrogant after his easy victories. He thought that even if some of the Jedi and the clones escaped, it would not matter. His droid armies were far too strong in numbers. The prisons were full of Jedi, clones, senators, and other citizens that he would likely have killed very soon. And as he was standing in the former Chancellor's office, contemplating his galactic takeover, his droids informed him of an emergency in the main prisons. Grievous accessed the security systems of the prison, and what he saw genuinely did shock him. 5 Jedi and around 50 clones, plus what seemed to be like thousands if not millions of citizens, were infiltrating the prison systems. They all had blasters or weapons of some sort, and the droids were falling quickly. By the time Grievous sent reinforcements, hundreds of Jedi were freed, including Yoda, Windu, Coleman Trebor, and other council members, as they were able to access their lightsabers and run into battle against the droids. The 50 clones saved thousands of their brothers from the cruel prisons, and they too ran into battle for the Republic. In this new Battle of Coruscant, makeshift militias formed in the underbelly of the planet, leveraging the city landscape for guerrilla tactics. Skilled slicers disrupted droid communicators, reprogrammed battle droids to turn on their own ranks. Coruscant engineers and mechanics converted civilian vehicles into impromptu combat ships, while Coruscant's vast network of smugglers and black market dealers ensured a steady flow of weapons and supplies to the Resistance fighters. Everyone worked together to save Coruscant. This movement to save the prisoners galvanized the Resistance, infusing it with the power of the Jedi and the strength of the clone army. The newly freed Jedi took to the front lines, using their sabers and the Force to turn the tide of the planet-wide battle in the dense city. Clones, trained to understand the droids, coordinated with civilian fighters to execute precise, high-impact strikes on key droid leaders and ships. Together, this unexpected alliance of civilians, Jedi, and clones began to reclaim Coruscant, block by block. Their combined efforts not only would disrupt Grievous's hold on the planet, but it would inspire hope and unity among all of the citizens, allowing more and more to join as billions of people were now fighting the droids. And as Grievous stepped out of the executive building, he saw only destruction and fighting for as far as his eyes could see. He had his 4 lightsabers now ready for battle, and Coleman Trebor alone would emerge from the shadows. He was waiting for this. He wanted his battle against Grievous. Grievous growled, saying he should have killed him on Geonosis, and he moved in with his 4 blades ready. And in the heart of the war-torn Coruscant, Grievous and Trebor faced off beneath the shadow of the executive building. Grievous attacked with his cyborg ferocity, while Trebor used his green lightsaber, countering with great agility, as each clash of their blades would send sparks through the air, illuminating their duel. Grievous lunged with a powerful overhead strike, but Trebor sidestepped him, spinning away to slash at the cyborg's back, barely missing. Trebor then leaped over Grievous's sweeping attacks, landing a swift kick that did send Grievous stumbling, as Trebor let out a groan of pain after kicking the droid general. Drawing upon the Force, Trebor was able to increase the speed and precision of his attacks, aiming for Grievous's joints and weak points. Despite this, Grievous stood strong, crawling at Trebor, kicking him hard into the building. Grievous would stab at him, but Trebor ducked just in time, launching a new assault. A quick flurry of strikes would damage Grievous's chest plate, now exposing his vulnerable organs. And in a split second, Grievous unleashed a new hidden blaster, hitting Trebor in the side. The Jedi Master staggered backwards, wounded, but not done yet. Grievous fired more blasts, and Trebor blocked them this time, then cut away a limb from Grievous. Grievous dropped the saber, and Trebor used the Force to stab this saber through Grievous's lungs. He began to violently cough and turn away, as Trebor lifted Grievous with the Force, throwing him into a nearby Vulture droid speeding away. Both the Vulture and Grievous exploded in one, and Trebor would storm into the executive building as hundreds of clones and Jedi, along with Skywalker and Kenobi, now regrouped behind him. The capital city would see this great battle continue for days on end, but without Grievous, the droid army was lost and without leadership. The people of Coruscant, along with the Jedi and clones, were able to take down the droids and soon infiltrate the droid command ships, issuing a shutdown command to all of the droids, arresting the separatist leaders that were hiding away here in fear. When it was all over, the Republic had won Coruscant back, though the planet was largely destroyed. It would take unity from the Jedi, senators, and people of Coruscant to rebuild not only the city, but the entire Republic, and this destruction would unite Coruscant and the Republic more than ever before. Padme Amidala would step in as the face of the Senate, speaking to the people not only of the Republic, but of the Separatist Senate as well. She had friends there. She knew they were not all like Grievous and Dooku, and true negotiations could now begin without Dooku or Grievous getting in the way. And over the next few months, the Republic and Separatists would come together to bring down corruption in the Senate, as people were given much more of a voice than ever before to express their true concerns with the Republic. The Jedi and the Senate would aid each other in visiting planet after planet to determine which senators are truly keeping their people happy. New elections would begin, without interference from the corporations. Anakin Skywalker would excel in this, as he always wanted to just help people as a Jedi. He loved exploring the galaxy, using his powers for helping those who need the help, and in time, he would be made a Jedi Knight, with his path to mastery very clear, as he was perhaps the greatest Jedi aide, next to new Chancellor Amidala, in helping restore this fallen republic. And folks, that is our story for today. What if Dooku was killed on Geonosis? Hope you guys enjoyed this one. It was a path that I wasn't sure which way to take, because one route is Dooku was killed, and the Separatist Alliance just kind of falls away quickly, and then it's a 8-minute video or something. So I decided to have Grievous take over and just really show his monster side, his real scary bad side. So hope you enjoyed that. Palpatine being blown up, just, kind of getting him out of the way, and Coleman Trebor highlighted. I like to highlight some random Jedi once in a while, and the guy that died right away in Attack of the Clones trying to kill Grievous, I thought, what if he was a bit smarter? So yeah, that's what we did today. Hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you want to see next. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.